Does it look like, can you find the link? Or let's see.
I found the link.
Does it look like we're good?
Yeah, it's the black screen with your picture.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. I don't even know what I'm saying. Kind of thought about it, so good thing I think about stuff while I'm in the car. Wonder if my loop deck's gonna work. Didn't test that out. 3 o'clock?
You're live now.
We good?
Yeah.
We live? 3 o'clock?
That's it.
We good? Can you hear me, Stevie? All right, very good. Okay, hello everybody. I'm Jay Boatwright. This is the second version of our spring photo critiques. So we're going to go over some soccer, baseball, lacrosse, and softball today. So I'm super excited about it. I've got Stevie with Photo Day here with me. She's handling some of the behind the scenes stuff. Super excited to have her. For those of you who don't know Stevie actually used to work for me. So one thing about Photo Day that I really like is that all the staff there has a lot of experience. They may be a fairly new company in the sports market, sports/schools. However, everybody who works there has a tremendous amount of experience. And Stevie worked for me for 3 or 4 years before she went to Photo Day. So she was actually at photo shoots. So she saw how everything works during a photo shoot and after a photo shoot. And before the photo shoot, she was in charge of getting everything ready for us, which was a huge job with paper order forms. I mean, a huge job. So she would be in charge of that, and she'd be our salesperson, and then she also organized all the sales forms afterwards. So that was an entire job just based on paper order forms. So when we switched over to Photo Day, that job was a lot less. So we figured that maybe Stevie might have a great opportunity with a growing company like Photo Day, since she does have experience there. So we're really excited that we were able to kind of help her get started in this industry. Now she's with Photo Day. So when you speak with Stevie, she is coming from a place of a lot of experience in our world, which I think is really important. But anyways, wanted to start going over some of the images. But before I do, I've had a lot of I don't know how you say it, a lot of people asking me about our style of photography. Is it, can you really duplicate it? Can you teach other people to do it? Is it really feasible to take great images in a volume environment? And those questions are valid questions, and I understand where everybody's coming from. But this is the thing with our company. We're in Atlanta, which is a very competitive market. And we have a lot of very good and big companies that are competitors, and they're really good business people. So I had to come at it to where I had to be different, and the best way for us to be different was to be better with our photographic quality. So when I get asked the question, is it easy to, how do you get more photographers? Is this scalable? Is it easy to duplicate? And my answer is no, it's not. It certainly isn't easy to duplicate, and that's the way I want it. I don't want another photographer to be able to come into my territory and figure out exactly what I do in a day, a week, a month, 6 months. I don't want them to be able to figure out how we get our images and how we get them so fast. That's just our competitive advantage. If I went to a system that was easy to duplicate, I felt like I never would have got started in the Atlanta market because it's too competitive. There's already companies here that are doing that, who are well established, who have more experience than I do, and they would have just eaten our lunch. So we went a whole different route, and we just decided that we're going to offer photos that are so much better than our competition that we're going to get our customers aren't going to care as much about those rebates and incentives and that sort of thing. So that was our strategy. And no, this isn't easy to duplicate. It's hard work. However, it's part of the reason why I feel like our company is going to be around for a while, is that we're going to offer a product that most leagues and parents aren't going to get anyplace else but Smacks Photography. And I'm real proud of that. And that's the way I'm going to continue to run our business. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it. It's just the way that we do it, and so far, so good. Okay, off my soapbox about that. So let's go ahead and we're going to get in another quick little thing about these image reviews. I'm really grateful for all the photographers who actually submitted images. It takes a lot of courage to do this. You're sending me your images so I can go over them and critique them, and everybody else that's watching gets to view what we're talking about with these images. So it takes a lot of courage, and I really appreciate that. The people who are sending the images are willing to learn, so that's really the first step to having great images. So I want to, have a special thank you to those people who did send in images. And a lot of these images, I've saw a few of them, but not many. And I don't know who sent them in unless they put those images, put their name on the images, or they put them in a Facebook group, and I've seen them before. So there's a couple of those instances there, and I'll warn you before we do that. Okay, this image that you see up on the screen now, this is what we call a dugout shot. And if you really look at this image, you can see those clouds in the background. It was really about to storm. As a matter of fact, when it stormed, there was water all in that dugout, but we got the shoot in before the big storm came. And we were there because of the storm. We wanted to make sure the athletes didn't get wet. So the athletes were waiting in the pavilion. We brought one team at a time over. It was an all-star shoot. We had about 100 players, maybe 8 teams. So it's like a banner / all-star shoot. And we did use photo day with this particular job. And it's from a low angle like I usually do. And what I did is I put a softbox of the rim light outside the dugout, and then I had another big softbox inside the dugout, really tight up against the wall. And my back was basically to the fence to get that image. But they like this so much that we've done it for the next 3 seasons, I think. And it does slow things down, meaning that you can only get one athlete at a time. So it's a volume shoot, meaning that I had 100 athletes. However, they had to go one at a time, so we had to space it out accordingly. Now, you can do that if you tell the league what you need. It's like, okay, so I can get about a minute per athlete in this situation, so we need about 2 hours for this shoot. And that's what they're like, okay, whatever you need. So if you present a league with an image that they love and that's what they want to go with, then the next step is telling them what you need in order to be successful. So I can't get this shoot with 100 athletes done in 30 minutes. It's just not possible. If they want this particular image, they have to give me a dugout. We have to go one at a time, and we have to space it out so that way everybody gets their turn. So you can't do this on a volume basis. You just have to make sure that you schedule it properly. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right in. All right. Okay. All right, so this image here is, let's black it out so we can see it. Okay, this isn't, I can't imagine this is going to be a volume photo shoot, because this is a baseball coming at a catcher, and yeah, that's just not going to work. You can't do that on a volume basis because they got that ball in there. That's more maybe a senior style shoot. I wouldn't think that's a volume shoot. And the other issue that I have with this is like I don't always think that the athlete has to be in the correct position. However, with this particular image, I do feel like it would be helpful if he was at home plate, because he's in the outfield with the outfield fence at his back. And it's just going to be a really difficult shot to duplicate on a volume basis. If it's just one senior photo, that might work, but it's not lit. And there's really not much that's going to distinguish this photo from just a snapshot. So if anything, what I'm going to do with this particular image is crop that in. We'll crop it in. You can still imagine that the baseball is coming. He looks pretty fixed on an object, so you can imagine he's looking at the baseball. So in this case, I like this a lot better. And if we light that properly and really kind of darken that background a good bit, then I think that this image is going to be a little bit more impactful. So basically I just cropped it in and add a little bit of vignette, desaturate a little bit, and we can add some clarity to it. So that looks pretty good. Let's see if we can do a little before and after. So you have a little bit more impact in that sort of situation. However, I just don't know if I think that a parent can possibly duplicate that shot. So let me just quickly go over, let me take a step back and go over kind of a rating system here. We've got a 3-star system. First star is going to be phone quality, meaning that your image can be duplicated with a cell phone. So of course we don't want to be there, but cell phones are really good. So, but we want to create something that cannot be duplicated by a cell phone or a parent. The second star is going to be form ready, meaning that the photo that you took was good enough that if you're doing prepaid order forms, that the parents aren't going to return the image or return the products. So that's the second level. Third level is going to be photo day ready. So what that means is Photo Day is an online platform. In order to sell those photos, you're selling them after the parent sees them. So they're going to have to be way better than a cell phone photo or a photo that's just form ready, because those parents are going to have to look at that photo and be like, I have to have that, I'm buying it. So that's kind of what we're all striving for, is be able to create a photo that we can sell online. The parents are just going to look at it, look at that image like, yeah, I can go out in the backyard, we can do that same photo. We don't want that. And then the kind of fourth thing that we're going to have is what's called PD100. So in the Photo Day community, we have this thing called hashtag PD100. And what that means is you had one customer buy $100 worth of products for one athlete. And that's kind of the standard. What we like to do, if somebody gets a PD100, they will post that in the group and say, hey, the parents bought this list of items and here are the photos that they bought. And we try to keep it to one athlete, so that way it's truly, they spend $100 on that one particular, not, you know, brother or sister, 3 different athletes each to get to 100. PD100 is one athlete, and the parent ordered $100 for that athlete. So that's kind of what everybody's shooting for. So that's kind of the very top photo. All right, so we have 3 stars, and then Photo Day 100 is in its own classification. So this one, we're going to do phone quality on this photo. This one I think was going to be tough to sell that image online, especially in its original format. All right, let's go to the next photo. All right, Stevie, yes?
Flip your screen to the...
Okay, thank you. Sorry, let me let you look at the image. Okay, Stevie, we're going to go ahead and put Photo Day ready on this. I know who this is just by seeing their work. This is Rose Coleman. Her name's up there, but before I'm going to be hers anyways. She has a definite look, and that's really what everybody's striving for, is a look. And this look is fantastic. And I believe this is that top tier. This is a Photo Day 100 for sure. Parents are going to spend a lot of money on this athlete. Now, I do think this is a great shot. I don't know if this is probably a senior photo shoot. If we were talking about volume, this might be difficult to achieve, just because, well, in my format, what I like to do, I like to shoot at a low angle. So if you want to shoot at a low angle and a high angle, that means you have to if you're sitting down, then you have to get up and stand up and take that image. And let's look at the lens. We have a 24-120. So that's a good zoom lens if you want to shoot this kind of photography, because it's not like a 24-70 to shoot this, and then you have to change lenses maybe to 70-200 to get a full length and compress that background. So that's kind of a neat lens there. That must be a Canon lens. I'm not sure what that shot with, but it's a 24-120. She shot at 40 millimeters, and this is a good job of using a wide angle and making for artistic reasons. Okay, so we get the whole stadium in the background. The only thing I don't know, again, this is a good thing. This looks like it might be a football stadium. I can't imagine that's a baseball stadium, or maybe it is. It does have might have some net in the background. That's pretty cool. That must be all the room behind home plate. So yeah, that's really cool. That's a baseball stadium. So they use a wide angle to capture all the stands and that nice grass, that sort of thing. Now, as far as the actual pose, this will work for a older athlete, but for younger athletes, draping their hands over the bat, I would be really careful with that. They really can't do it. They really just, their posture slouches when they do that. So what we like to do is have the thumbs up underneath the bat, not like this, where they look like they're missing fingers. We want to have the hands like this. Now, again, he's a high school athlete. That will work. He can drape his arms over and it still looks good. but I'd be careful with the younger guys doing that pose. I think that's really what Bo Jackson's pose looked like. And so most of the kids want to go with their hands hanging over, but that looks funny most of the time. Okay. So Rose, do we put photo day 100 on there? All right, photo day. Okay, very good. All right. Okay, so we got softball, and I'm not sure whose photo this is. Okay. Initial thoughts. This looks, the posing's great. I like the little, the hair ribbon. I can't tell, it says B3. I'm not sure what that is, but obviously that's of some significance there. But yeah, that looks good. It's a little flat, but it's softball. So sometimes softball in a smiling pose, you don't want to have, too harsh of light. You don't want it to be too dramatic. So I think the lighting is really nice. What might be kind of cool, I don't know how the dugout looks like behind the subject, but putting a little light in there, maybe a blue light, very, very faint. You don't want it to overpower the image, but you might want to just get a little bit of light inside that dugout. You could do that with a Godox like an 8200. They come and you can get a little kit that has gels and a grid possibly to kind of control light back there, but I would like to see a little bit of light back there in the dugout. But this image is great. I think this is really, for sure, parents are going to buy that, so that's a photo day ready. What do you think, Stevie? You got to put our stamp on. Oh, yeah. There we go. Photo day ready. Yep. Great image. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay, this looks like it's from the same photographer because it look like it have Hopkins and those are two different looks there. See, this maybe just because this is in the shade, you can see how it's lit up, and maybe when out in the sun and you can't really tell. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. There is a flash, but it looks like it's either on camera flash or it's a flash that's not very powerful, okay? Because it's just flat. And that's the situation where I was saying that you could be a little bit more dramatic with boys than girls, and he's got a game face, he's serious, so I want to see a little bit more drama on this particular image. A couple other things, you can see the background is just covered with cars, a school, that sort of thing. I'm not sure what was going on out in the outfield, but that's kind of a distracting background right there. And it's from eye level. There's no, I like to shoot the sports images from a lower level, make them look a little bigger. The pose, I think we need to square his shoulders up a little bit, maybe so we can see his number. But that's a tough pose right there because you're covering up the number. And I'm really like, the lighting is throwing me off here. If you see this, the image before that lighting is so much better, and I'm pretty certain it's because they're in the shade. And if once we get them out in the sun, that flash is not powerful enough to overcome the sun. So that's why it looks really flat, not much drama to it. So we're going to do, that's a phone image. There, Stevie. I think that photo can be duplicated with the iPhone. All right, so we have a series of images here from the same photographer, obviously, with the Rebels. All right. Okay, so first thing is all the images are shot with a really short lens, okay? It looks like 16 to 35 millimeters. And you have to be careful with distortion. Although they don't look very distorted, it looks pretty good. But if I'm using a wide angle, I'm gonna go more like what Rose was doing here. All right, she used that wide angle on purpose for so we can see the entire stadium. That looks really awesome. This is more of up close images. And not compressing the background. Yeah, I don't like this short lens used for a portrait. But this is what I'm saying about these images. They need to be lit better. I'm not sure if there is any flash at all. You can see it's very hot on this particular image on the side of his face. I understand what they're trying to do, set him with the sun to the back or to the side and then shoot that way. But the fill flash, if there is any flash, looks like there might be some, is not powerful enough to overpower that sun. So you see the background is really bright. And we have this one, you can see the flash here, but you can see how bright that's very splotchy right there with his curls, really hot on the forehead. So we have to have more powerful light, and we're going to have to make sure that we put a little scrim on the subject so we don't blow out those highlights there. Okay, so I do believe all these images can be duplicated with a cell phone. I don't think you're separating yourself from a parent or competition. All right, now the good thing about those, and this is why I want to kind of look at them all three together. Whoever's taken these photos did a great job posing. And in my opinion, I'd rather take somebody who can pose an athlete and teach them lighting rather than having somebody who knows lighting who has no idea how to pose. They don't know posture, they don't know what athletes, how they hold the equipment, that sort of thing. So all these poses are really solid. The only thing I would change about this one is maybe move his left hand a little bit to the side so we can see the number. But I love the way he's holding his helmet. He's got a good posture, so I love this pose. This pose would be awesome with the correct lighting. I haven't even thought about putting the stick to cover up the eye, but you see, it's also cut off where you can't see the stick. I would include the entire stick, but I think this is a really cool pose, and if you had the correct lighting, then this would really work. I like that. And then this is good. This is a super popular pose with every sport that involves a stick or a bat, and this is done really well. The thumbs are around the stick. They even put the ball and the end of the stick there, which I like. The only thing I do is maybe tilt that head a little bit. But other than that, all the posing is solid. Just really need to work on the lighting. And also I would try to use a little bit of a longer lens if you're not trying to do something dramatic like Rose was doing. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is another really solid image. I like this image. It's fairly flat because it's a girl, she's smiling. You don't need to get too dramatic with the lighting. I understand that. I like that they incorporated the post in this particular photo. And I think this can be done on a volume basis as well. So you could just have everybody come up, holding the ball right there, right underneath the number, leaning up against the goal post. That's done really well. Not really excited about the background. Don't know if we got from a lower angle, that we could maybe kind of get rid of the parking lot there. But I do understand that as girls, and if you have some issues where it might not be flattering from a low angle, you have to be careful of that. However, this subject will have no problems with that. Now, the one thing if I'm being nitpicky about things is that hair on the shoulders. We could clean up that hair a little bit. So she has some hair wrapped around her chin on one side, and then the hair is on the shoulders, meaning that just put the rest of that, you can have hair up front, but just don't have the hair all around the shoulders there. Put the hair in the back and then have some in the front and give it a little twist. So I think I can do a little bit of work on the hair, but other than that, I think it looks great. We're with the 24-105 f4, it almost looks like maybe a Panasonic shot with a 70mm. So yeah, it's good. I think that's definitely it's not a Photo Day 100, but I definitely think that's going to sell it on Photo Day. All right. Okay. The Venom. All right. Okay, so another issue with the flashes, and I've been seeing this a lot in the Facebook groups. I like to monitor all the Facebook groups, see what everybody's doing. I learn things all the time. So keep posting in those groups because I think it's valuable for everybody. All right, your flash is not powerful enough for your ambient light. So a lot of people are trying to get away with a 200 watt light, 300 watt light, 400 watt light. If you're shooting images outdoors, you need 600 watts. I mean, you have to have 600 watts. If you're doing any amount of volume work, that's a minimum. Because in this case, this looks like it might be a 200 watt light. There's just not enough light. You're gonna have to have it's gonna have to be right in their face. It's gonna be very flat. You're not gonna get any drama. If you had a 600 watt light, so you have some pretty cool clouds back there. If you had a 600 watt light, then you might be able to bring out those clouds, add some drama to it, set the light to the side one direction or the other, and create a little bit of, some shadows to make that photo look more dramatic. But let's go ahead and crop it. And again, this is shot at 35mm, and we're shooting at 35mm that needs to be shot with a longer lens because we're shooting at eye level. If I'm going to shoot with 35mm, I'm going to put that camera on the dirt, and I'm gonna have the athlete looking down at it, and then we're gonna take the shot. And you can have all those dramatic clouds, the light poles in the background. I think that'd be a really cool image. I would like this pose if the subject was looking down at the camera. So we'll just kind of crop in and see if we can do anything with this thing. Let's see. And we'll just we're just gonna paint a little bit that background and see what that looks like. If we had a flash and we could maybe bring that in a little bit. Okay. All right, we're almost there. Let's see if we have our mask on. On a mask. Okay. So we'd be right in there. Now, I realize that's a little bit too much. Okay, so all you need to do in Lightroom there is we made our little adjustments. We white balance, we just brought down the blue a little bit for the sky. We brought our clarity up just a touch. We brought the exposure down. So if I want to adjust all three at one time, I can just do that. And I can back that down a little bit. Let's go. There we go. All right. So a little bit better. So I think you kind of get the idea of where we could go with that if we had a little bit more of a powerful flash. So let's see if we can go. All right. There's where we started, right there. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So I think cropping that in and adding some drama to the background would do good. But you do that in camera by having a more powerful flash. So, oh, do we go? We're doing photo quality. I think this can be reproduced with a cell phone. All right. Okay. Let's go to the next image. This is awesome. Looks like we've got, if we're looking at our metadata here, we've got 1/800th of a second, so they're shooting high-speed sync in order to really blur out that background at f4. ISO is 100, and they're shooting at 200 millimeters. So he could be standing right in the infield, and they're just compressing that scene. So I think that looks really, really good. Really love this image. There's not much I would do. Maybe the only concern I have is a little bit of that highlight on the nose there. But I mean, that's just being super nitpicky. I think this is a great image. I love that the ball's blurry and we're really drawn into his eyes. So I think this is a great image. This is photo day ready for sure. Really not much to critique there. I think it's a great image. Matter of fact, that would be a photo day 100. All right. Let's go over, I know whose image this is. This is my friend Tim McDonald. I think these are both his images with the short file names. So they're easy to recognize, but I think he's posted these on Facebook. All right. Yeah, I mean, I love the angle there. He was super low. This is the situation where he did have the thumbs hidden. I would want those thumbs around the stick because the thumb's hidden. It looks like she's missing a finger there. So I would change that up a little bit. It's a great expression. Love the expression. I know Tim's probably shooting with, there's probably nothing you could do with that background. I'm sure that's just a white out kind of sky. I hate when you come up with those kind of things. But if anything, I might bring the shadows up just a touch back there. Let's see if we can bring the shadows up just a little bit. I would add some vibrance. Now, I'm adding vibrance to this image. And let's see. Let's go add some red and let's add some green. All right. You have to be careful with the red because you don't want the lips to get too red, okay? So I would be careful with that. But you can see, I think it makes a big difference there with the jersey red and green. And this is a big thing, argument that I like to have with Tim is he shoots with JPEG always, which is fine. I mean, he does great images right out of the camera. But for me, I shoot RAW because there's no point of having the nice cameras that I have if you're shooting JPEG because it just compresses everything. And I want to really bring out all the colors. And when you have a raw image, you can do a whole lot more with the colors a lot quicker. And for me, I'm importing in Lightroom. So as long as you have the disk space on your hard drive, it doesn't take any more time to edit a raw image than it does a JPEG. So me and Tim will probably always argue about that, but I think this space is cheap. So it's really no big deal. and you can get a little more pop out of your images. But fantastic image. Let's go back. That's definitely photo day ready. You're not getting a photo day 100 out of this, Tim, because you're shooting in JPEG. JPEG images don't sell. I'm kidding. But okay, let's see. I think this is from Tim as well. I love this image. It's a really cute kid. So, I mean, he's cheating a little bit. What I did is I added some vibrance right there. As you can see right there, it made a big difference. If we look at the before and after, right? So again, this is probably straight out of the camera. Very well, a little. He looks like he added a vignette. Maybe he cropped a little bit. The photo's beautiful. The background's blurred out. Everything looks fantastic here. If we added a little bit of vibrance, yes, it's going to take a little extra work in post-production. I realize that. But again, that just comes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of our segment here, is that I want to do those little tiny things that parents aren't able to do and my competition doesn't do to really separate my image from the competition. And if it takes some extra work, all that is to me, is it's helping to ensure that my company is going to stay in business for years to come, because I'm willing to take a little extra step to make sure that my images look really great. Now, I still think this looks really great. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's just I think that it can be taken from a good to a great image. But Tim's work is better than 98% of what I see out there anyway. So he's doing a great job. Just I'm being super picky. But this is definitely photo day ready. Photo day ready. Let's see. Let's go over to, all right. This is a cool image. This is, again, this must be like a senior shot or something like that. And the reason why I decided to go ahead and include this image is because we are using photo day. Now, if you're doing a volume shoot, I'm not sure you can get this done with paper order forms, because how are you going to tell parents? This is going to be hard sell, because you're doing individuals, then these buddy shots, but in the buddy shot, I don't want them looking at the camera. So that might be a hard sell. But if you're using photo day, then you can do whatever you want. If the parents don't like it, they just don't buy it. As long as it doesn't take you an extraordinary amount of time to set this shot up, then you're good to go. The only thing I'd say, I'm not sure about, I think you could do some things with this image. The pants are a little bit distracting because they're so bright. You have black and white there. I might bring that in. And since we aren't showing a lot of skin, we can maybe mess with the clarity a little bit. And I think that maybe even a black and white type thing. Let's take a look. Black and white. Let me see here. Let's go with a black and white and just see what it kind of looks like. Black and white high contrast. Yeah, you can mess with that. And what's great about photo day, you can do both. You can do one color, one black and white, but I'm just be careful with the highlights here. You can see here where the pants, if you look at your histogram, you've lost the detail in the pants there. It's a little too hot right there, so be careful with that. But yeah, I mean, I like the image overall. It's just kind of like a concept photo, but I definitely think that would do well on photo day. Yes, Stevie.
Justin Grafton
Yes.
asks,
Hey.
down on the vignette.
Will I back down on the vignette? That was not me on the vignette. What I did, I'm assuming he's on this image. When you add vibrance, it increases the vignette. So the vignette's already in there. If we reset that image, you see it's there, but it's yeah. Well, and the vignette's kind of tricky too, because if you have a photo, crop it a certain size, and then you add the vignette, and then you crop it again, and the vignette goes away. So, all right. Okay. I'm not going to really go through the action because we're not doing action today. Maybe that'll be some other time. But I don't shoot that much action anymore. We used to do nothing but action, but we've evolved, and now we're strictly portraits, except for one action event a year, which I did this weekend. It killed me. Okay, so let's look at this image here. The sky is pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, this is a really cool image. I like the pose. Little smirk that she has, all that's good. I just think that her face is just a little bit underexposed. So a couple of quick things that I would fix here is I would take the little hairband off her wrist, unless that's something that they want, and I would definitely pop a little bit more light into her face. Okay, So let's just bring the shadows up. I like maybe bring the shadows up a little bit, see a little bit more of the field. And let's look at if we just got a brush here, and let's look what it would be like if we had a little bit bright, a little bit more light on the face there. Let's see, where's that light coming from? Maybe we'll just kind of paint it in a little bit. Right there. Okay, and again, we can bring it down just a little bit if we need to. You can kind of play with it. I think I like it right in there. And you may want a little bit on the skin. Yeah, I think maybe just the face. I might work on a little bit on the skin. But yeah, just adding a little bit of pop of light there. That's a natural vignette there, Justin. I don't think there's anything we can do about that. But yeah, this is a great image. Posing looks good. I think it's just a little bit underexposed. Let's see if it shows a before and no, it won't show us a before and after. But yeah, I like that right there. Let me see if the before and after will pop up now. No, we don't want to do it. Okay, so this is the image with a little bit of light on the face, and there's where we started. So I think it makes a big difference in popping just a little bit of light in there. But I think that's going to have to be form ready.
No.
Uh-oh, hold on. Back down. There we go. Form worthy. All right. Okay. All right. Let's go with this big guy here. Okay, I think this is similar to one of the ones that we had a little earlier. I like the angle. It's at a lower than eye level, so the photographer obviously was sitting on the ground or kneeling. So I like that for the younger athletes. Can't see the metadata here, but I'm assuming that they shot probably at f4, somewhere in there. Maybe even 2.8 because that background is really blurred out. So that's really nice. But I think what's going on here, if we zoom in on the eyes, it looks like we do have a softbox. There's two things that we got to do in this particular image. First thing is we have to scrim that sun. That sun is really hot on the side of the face. So we have to have a little sun scrim there. And the second thing is we need to pop a little bit more light underneath that hat. Do those two things and this is a fantastic image. Otherwise, again, this is not really distinguishing you from a parent with the camera here. So be careful right there. Now, the other thing that I'm not crazy about, although this kid is super cute, so you can get away with it, but I would be careful with that arm going straight down, okay? I would put a bat on the ground, maybe have his hand on top of the bat, or I'd have him grab his hip, or maybe even put a ball in his hand. That might be kind of cool too. But again, this is a great pose. We just have to work on the lighting. Shade the athlete and then add a little bit more power to your flash because I see that it looks like you have an off-camera flash by the catch lights, but it's just not powerful enough to get rid of the shadow on his face from the sun. Okay, so this looks like from the same series here. Same thing. It's just we have too much sun on his face. You see it gets all the way over to his nose. We'll do one rating for this since it's the same photographer. All right, so this one you kind of have to be careful with because I like to shoot at a really low angle, and I know this is what this photographer was trying to get out of this as well, and it works, but you got to be careful that the camera's actually in the grass. So the camera's in the grass, and in the grass actually covering up where you don't see the shoes. So that's a little bit distracting because the grass comes up maybe, looks like 15-20% of that image is the grass. So you have to be careful with that. I think that might be a little too low with long grass. All right. The pose is good. Again, it's a great expression, good smile. I like the way his bat's on his shoulder. Did a good job there. We just have to shade them up and add more flash. And hopefully by doing that, you can bring a little bit more, you can bring down the exposure to the background a little bit. But overall, they're good poses, but again, I don't know that we're really distinguishing ourselves from the parents with cameras. So let's go phone ready for that. Okay. All right. Let's see. Yeah, this is a beautiful image. and maybe or maybe not, this can be done in a volume basis. You could, like I was discussing right at the beginning, is that if you told the program this is what you're going to do, I'm have them stand up one time and then I'm do a profile photo. I just did a bunch of gymnasts last weekend like that. I set up extra lights so that way, you know, I stand up and then sit down and we can have a whole different look. So that was pretty cool. So I think that can be done in volume. This is a great image. It's really cut off at the bottom here. I have to be careful with that. There's nothing left right there. So I probably would include a little bit more turf there. But lighting looks good. It might be a little flat. You could maybe get it a little bit more dramatic there. It looks like there might be a light in front of the subject. And I might cut that light off and just have the light that's in front of the subject. So where her foot is pointing to, that's where my light would be, camera left. And then I would turn the light off that's going straight out. You see that little highlight that she has right there. Let's see, you can kind of zoom in on it. That highlight right there, that means there's probably a flash camera right or just barely camera left. I think I would turn that all off and I would put a light about 2 feet on the other side of her foot there and see what that looks like. But yeah, this is a great image. I don't think you have any problem selling that on photo day. All right. Okay, guys, let's do last one here. This is pretty awesome. I think you're going to sell this image. I mean, the fact that you have everything's in focus. You know, it's lit really well. The hair looks good. She doesn't have a terrible look on her face. That's the hardest thing when you have this sort of pose, is having a really funny look on their face as they're doing their maneuvers. But no, the lighting's great. Again, this is a really dramatic image. I like it. I don't think you can pull this off on a volume basis. Once you start getting action involved, then it's just too difficult. It might take them 15 tries to get this image. And I'm curious what lights they shot with. It looks like it's later at night, but I am kind of curious of what lighting system they shot with, because it looks like there's the ball looks great. Doesn't look like there's any ghosting. So it was probably pretty late at night, and so that way that flash is overpowering the ambient light, so you don't have any blurring. But whoever did that did a good job. So I definitely think that's not a volume shoot, but it definitely will sell on photo day. All right, Stevie, we got any questions?
No.
Just comments from Justin, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, very good. All right, guys, well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this time. Maybe we'll do another one. If you guys like the critiques and want to get more info, we can do that. But, you know, again, I just challenge you to really get out there and be a little edgy with your photos. And if you can't do it during the photo shoot, if you don't feel comfortable, if you want to take your regular lighting style and you want to get a little bit edgier, what I would suggest that you do is at the end of the photo shoot, when everybody's packing up, you take yourself, an assistant, or just yourself, and one model at the end of the shoot. Take that model and start experimenting with your lighting. Move it in close, move it in far, move left, camera right, try different poses. Just really get creative and push the boundaries where you wouldn't in the volume shoot. And then most of the time you're going to find something that you really like. And then once you get comfortable with that, then you can include it on your next shoot. So don't feel like you have to jump all in. Just experiment a little bit and then see what happens. Yes, Stevie?
So Rudy Gray said that's an AD600 with a mag box with no diffuser.
Okay, all right. Is that the soccer photo?
I believe so.
Okay, so let's look at that real quick. Develop. Okay, so that was a AD600 with a mag box. Mm-hmm. Okay, mag box, and sometimes that mag box has the has that special material that really makes it super bright. I forget what the diffusion fabric is, but yeah. So that's pretty powerful light. Looks like it was shot later on in the evening time, so they're able to really stop the athlete without any ghosting. So good job on that. But okay, guys, that's it. We'll see you next time. Thank you.